Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome, welcome. It's Monday. I almost said it was Wednesday. I'm just so excited. We're in Toronto, coming to you live from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You got a little jazz in the background. Hope you're loving it. It is Calabash. The song is called From Whence We Came, and if you don't have it, it's time to get that in your collection. Actually, it might make a good Christmas gift. And they got beautiful Caribbean jazz on here. So tonight, I want you to sit back, relax. Now, get your notepad because this is a conversation where we want you to be truly inspired. So, welcome to Victory Speaks, the Inspired Conversation series where iron sharpens iron. That's you and me sharpening each other. And I'm your host, Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory and your mental fitness coach. And I'm on a mission, people, to inspire you to live a life of victory, a victorious lifestyle. And I believe we all need to cultivate that victory mindset because we need to mind our minds. And I'm sure, just like me, you have many conversations all the time, good, bad, funny, you name it. And as I've had countless conversations with various people doing amazing work, I wanted to share them with you. And because we all have a story to tell, and our story, we can glean from each other's story. And as you know, sharing is caring. So tonight, share, share, share. If you're alive, please share. If you're on the replay, please share. Because tonight we're talking about how to tap into your inner champion and start creating the lifestyle that you want. We want everyone to be set up for victory in the year 2022. Can you believe it's almost at the end of 2021? Now, this conversation will get you thinking. However, it's going to be easy with the right perspective as we equip ourselves to let your victory speak in a champion like way. Joining me on the Victory Speak stage tonight are two great coaches that are just friends of mine, and we do so much things together. And we got Coach Danny Stone. He's known to many as Coach Stone. He's an author, he's a teacher, he's a speaker, community servant, entrepreneur, and he's an advisor and community servant with the Zero Gun Violence movement. And of course, joining him with me on the Victory Speak show is Coach Lovemore, and she's an entrepreneur. She's an inspirational, transformational speaker, and she is an author as well. You know, I love her to pieces, but not Reese's Pieces because I really don't like Reese's Pieces, too much peanut butter. But I digress, you know, and she is a woman on a mission, inspiring us all to love more. And she wants us to learn what love truly is. And she named her company after her mom, Lovemore, and she's honoring her mom with that name. And so, people, you're going to get to know more about my guests as you meet them and as we talk tonight. So, without further ado, listen, we got to bring up the round of applause before we bring them up because, we are virtual, but that does not mean that we cannot bring them to the stage with a round of applause. Come on now. Woohoo! We got to get a
Yes,
little
I
sound
love the
effect up
energy.
here.
I love that.
Listen, when Coach Stone and Lovemore are in the building, y'all, I got energy. I may not have much energy today, but I knew I was coming. I was coming. And Coach Stone is bringing it with. Did you see that, Lovemore? He's coming strong with the hat. I should have brought out my fedora tonight, y'all. So let us know where you are streaming in from. Are you, as they say, are you team live or team replay? And are you in Toronto? What part of Ontario? Are you in Canada? Are you in the Caribbean? Let's hear, let's hear, let's hear. So we have been having some in-depth conversations in the Champion U room in the club.
Mhm.
If you don't know what the club is, listen here. You better get on the train. Now, some people call it the club, some people call it the club in the house. So you know where I'm going. And so we wanted to bring the conversation to you here because we're going into the year 2022, and there's one audience on that space, but let's bring it into the social media space of Facebook and YouTube. And we've been quite on a journey this year. Well, I should say year and a half, actually. And what I've noticed, it's created this whole conversation about identity. Um, and when we start about introducing ourselves in the club and in the room, and one of the things you always say is, so uh, and I'm gonna do it now, and then we're gonna pull it back. So, Coach Stone, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, Coach Stone is in the building.
Yes.
And I a little bit about I'm just a servant. I'm just here to serve people, to help them find that inner champion, to help them quiet the inner critic that says you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you can't do this, you can't do that. So my mission is really to help people kind of tap into that inner champion. And so I do that through my podcast, the Grind and Gratitude Show, being a transformational speaker, speaking on stages, virtually and in person, through books. I have a few books out right now, and as a coach. And my mission as a coach is to help hero entrepreneurs make more impact, income, and influence. And so that's what I do, and that's what I'm all about. And as well as my community service, I'm definitely about giving back to the community, and guiding young people to live their purpose.
I love that, Coach Stone. I'm going to get into you just now. And Miss Coach Lovemore, talk to us. Tell us
What,
about
what
yourself.
would you like to know, Miss Nicole?
I,
Miss
I'm just
Victory speaks.
I'm
Miss,
setting you up now. I'm setting you up. You tell us about introduce yourself to the people.
I am Lovemore, and my mission, the name says it all. I'm on a personal mission of loving myself more. And I've tasted the benefit of loving myself more and having it as a lifestyle. As Danny says, I'm a servant as well. And I know we're here to be so blessed and to pass on the blessing to others. So I'm on a personal mission of impacting others to love more by just zooming in and being a true vessel of love and light, even within the imperfections of who I am. And I've taken the Love More mission even into my brand. So everything I do is all I do is love, 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 and love more.
All I do is love, love, love. That sounds like a song.
There was a song in my head. All I do is love, 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 no matter what.
Oh, that song. She took the song. All I do is win.
The song. Hey, come on now. Come on now. This
There
is
was
this
a
is
song. There was a song in my head. I don't know where it came from, but I'm like in my heart. I was just like just really vibing to that
jamming,
song.
jamming, jamming, jamming. I love it. And I always stumble over the question, and it's funny. I was in a beautiful launch of a book this weekend. A great friend of mine, Lady Andrea Boea, launched a book, The Heart of You. And she talked about when we ask about introducing ourselves. And it's funny, she went into the same thing that we talk about in Champion U Room, where it was we talk about what we do instead
Yes.
of who we are.
Yes.
And tonight, I hope we definitely can create the shift of when people ask us, you know, introduce yourself. We start saying, I am Coach Danny, and my desire is from the place of passion,
Mhm.
why you do what you do instead of what you do. And so what is a champion? So, Coach Danny, you have this champion you room. What do you say a champion is?
I mean, to me, a champion is somebody who continues in the face of adversity. In the middle of struggle, they know that there's more, and they refuse to quit. And when you think of champions, that's what we think about, the greatest champion of all time, Muhammad Ali.
Right.
A champion stands for more than just winning. A champion is about a movement. A champion is about bringing light and joy and leadership to other people. And I think all of us have this ability in us. There's a natural state. Like, we're all born, and I said this many times, we're all born naturally curious, creative, resourceful, and whole. And
Mm,
what happens is, for most of us, we never get to play in those spaces too much. You go to your job, you do the same things over and over again. There's no curiosity about what's next. There's no creativity when it comes to trying to figure out how to solve problems, or even creativity with trying to figure out how to make your goals and dreams happen. So what happens is, we might be a fire might be lit within us to finally take action on something, and it doesn't come through the way that we expect, and then we just quit, and we say, okay, this isn't going to happen, and here's all the reasons why it can't happen. But when you have a champion mindset, champions go back to the drawing board. They learn
yes.
from the failures, they go back, they reevaluate, they step back, they look at the missteps, and they say, okay, I'm going to try this. That doesn't work, then they step back again. I'm going to try, and they keep going. Because why? The mission is bigger than the failures. The mission's bigger than all of the setbacks. The mission is so big that they can't quit. And so I think that everybody has this in them. And the problem is, we allow our past mistakes and missteps and failures to keep us playing small.
Mm.
And so when you do set a goal, it's so small for most of us that we trip over it and our life doesn't change at all. But we're doing that to protect ourselves so that we don't get hurt.
Well, I love it. Gloria said it's like boxing. It's like boxing. Yeah. You know, when you spoke about Muhammad Ali, you can take him from so many angles: as the fighter in the ring, as the social activist, and being a boxer, having to have many strategies to be able to deal with one's opponents, and deal with one's fears coming into the ring. And so it's interesting, because I'm sure most people, when they think about Muhammad Ali, they think about the boxer, just the person, and it was interesting with Muhammad Ali. His words, his words were champion words. His words were victorious. When he came into the ring, he was saying it, and I think that's one of the things we need to say to ourselves. I am the champion. He had no, like, you couldn't tell him any different. And I think if we could all develop some of that. You're really making me think tonight. We haven't even started in good yet. And I'm thinking about Muhammad Ali, and when we talk about affirmations and really speaking life into each other and speaking life into ourselves, he was a good one who knew how to champion himself. And so, Lovemore, when you talk about championing and being a champion, what does being a champion mean to you? And we're having a conversation. This is not even I'm telling you folks, this is not the regular Victory Speaks interview thing. This is a conversation. They're going to be jumping in and all sorts of stuff. We're sisters and brothers here tonight.
I really really love all of what Coach Stone said. So I have to say salute to that. For me, being a champion is not about first place. Being a champion is taking action, and being a champion is executing even under pressure. Being a
Hmm.
champion is prevailing. Being a champion is being flexible, because we don't know what life is going to present us. So we step back, we regroup, we look in, and it's forward movement, and having that forward goal to say, I don't care what is happening, I'm moving forward. So it's forward movements, it's perspective, it is that self belief that I can do it in spite of. It's not always about courage, it takes courage as well. But a
Right.
champion will feel the fear and say, I'm doing it afraid. I don't care if you're Goliath, I believe I can. It's that self belief, and it's moving forward, it's being adaptable, and having that knowing inside that I have the ingredients. I'm going to water it. I'm going to find the right soil, the sunshine. I'm going to make this inner greatness grow and let it overflow and just produce. So it's about producing, it's about taking action. And we all have a champion within, as that's Coach Stone's favorite saying, there's a champion within. And I believe we're all created with a seed that says champion in it. But we have our part to play. A champion does his or her part to ensure that they are walking and executing and seeing victory in spite of. That's my view.
Okay, so it's nicely said. Nicely said, but like how do you how like did you even guys, because you weren't always in a champion mindset, right? So, or were you? Because but I know both of you weren't always in the champion mindset. How did you even get to even reach in that spot of a champion mindset, Love more?
My everything changed for me the moment when I not only understood that I had purpose and that I am enough because I was created this way. That changed for me the moment I just had that self conversation, like I have purpose. I started to become curious as to who am I. It was that self-awareness that really took me on a deep dive as to say everything on this earth, even down to the dandelion that we want to just pluck up in the summer, has a purpose. That really got me thinking. I was reading up on the dandelion and it has so many purpose and use. So I'm like, if the dandelion has purpose, come on. So purpose was the catalyst and the pinnacle that changed my mindset and that gave me the perspective to really develop that inner champion, as Coach Stone would say. So for me, it was a number of different reasons. I mean, the pressure of life, the painful moments that I went through. So it's a combination of factors, but it was me sitting down and really asking the question, who am I? Why am I here? I was curious. I'm like, I have to be here more than just doing the 24/7 toiling. I'm like, there has to be more. I was hungry and thirsty for that more. I'm like, Lord, what is it? It cannot just be getting up, brushing my teeth, going to work. There has to be more. So I went seeking for that more, but I had that more. I just had to tap into that more and really do the work and surround myself with my Palatines and to help me unfold this inner champion that is within. So it is a process, it is a journey, it is not an event. And I must add, it's an ongoing process. It never ends. So don't ever get comfortable and say, oh, I'm winning, I
Yeah.
won, I'm a champion. I can relax and settle down because when you're put under pressure, it is to take you to that next level. So again, it goes back to perspective. So my share is never get comfortable and think that, oh, you've crossed the victory line. You can rest. Sure, you can rest, but we're gonna come looking for you, me and Coach Stone. Like, get up, you have work to do. There's a champion in you that keeps rising and rising. So back over to you, Nicole.
And it's so true, and the champion keeps rising, and then life happens, because you could be moving along and then something happens in life and you don't feel like a champion, and your emotion starts driving you. And we're definitely going to get into your pelotons later on, Love more, because the people that propel you and keep you and help you to move into purpose. But for you, Danny, how did you figure out the champion in you?
You know, I mean, I grew up in low income
I
housing,
grew up
so
in
it's hard to find that champion. I got bullied and picked on by drug dealers and pimps like in my neighborhood. So, for me, I had growing up, I had low self esteem. I wasn't somebody who wanted to be in that life,
Hmm.
but I found myself kind of to avoid being bullied. I just started going along with the crowd.
Mm.
So by the age of 18, I was arrested 3 times, and I think what really saved me is my grandmother, other mentors that really saw something in me. Like my grandmother just used to drop these, little sayings on me all the time, and I think it just hit me one day at 18 when I lost some friends to gun violence, and a lot of friends were in and out of jail, and I was just sitting there one day like, is this going to be my life? And I said, I don't want to go to jail. Like, that's not,
Mm.
I'm not one of these guys that, oh yeah, I'll be all right in jail. No, I didn't want
Like,
to go to jail.
lifestyle of
No,
jailing. Yeah.
no. And I didn't want to die. So it just, something just hit me one day, and I just made a decision that I didn't want to live this lifestyle. I decided that I was going to go to university. Luckily, I was a pretty good basketball player. But the interesting thing about all of that is, and I didn't even realize, this is something that's really interesting when you talk about, since we're talking about being a champion. I started playing basketball late in life. I started playing when I was maybe 12 years old. Most of the people I know started playing like 4 or 5, right? So I started late. I never really had great coaching. A lot of people that I grew up with, they used to get really great coaching. So I don't know. I just made it a point to be good at basketball, because I felt like if I was good at basketball, then people wouldn't pick on me as much.
Mm.
And so that was my outlet. I just practiced hard. I would play with guys that were 3, 4 years older than me. They used to beat me up on the basketball court, and I would just keep getting up. And I would just start getting more and more respect because I would keep getting up. But that being said, I didn't realize that that was preparation for me to play organized basketball. So I started playing on elementary school teams and club teams and junior high and high school, and eventually university. And I still didn't realize this, but it really helped me to develop my leadership skills. It really helped me to be more confident in who I was. And so I started getting most valuable player, male athlete of the year for elementary, junior high, and high school. I received most valuable player for almost every team that I played on, except for my
Wow.
university team.
Right.
But on that team, I got my rookie of the year and the most outstanding player of the year, voted by the fans. But I never realized that I was a good basketball player. It's so weird. And I
You
didn't
were getting
realize
all
that.
these things. You were getting all these accolades, and you didn't realize how
I
good you
didn't.
were.
I didn't, because I never saw myself as, I was always comparing myself to other people.
Mm.
And in that comparison, even if I was better at something, I would see that it would look like they were better than me. And so it was very hard for me to kind of get that confidence and to really feel like I had something special, until I made that decision to go away to university. And once I did that, I think being around different people, listening to my mentors, like finally listening to my mentors who saw something in me,
Yeah.
I think that's what really clicked and helped me to change my life and really see something. Like I said, well, if my grandmother, if my basketball coach, if this teacher, if all of these people see something in me, maybe there is something special about me. And that was the opening to the door of, maybe there's something special about me. Maybe there's a champion inside of me. And that's kind of how it started.
Now, isn't that interesting that you both said, and I can even think from my own experience, sometimes we very rarely see it within ourselves. It's the people around us, and listening and then believing who we are, why we're here, and that it matters. And it's funny. Serena said, Danny, that it was around the same age she started playing basketball, and it truly helped her build her self-esteem next to her writing. And
I love it.
people are important. And so when we have to identify, the champion in ourselves, um, what would you say hinders that? Because we talked about, your circumstances and where you were living, and that was the environments, and, things are hitting you. But what is in our inner self? Because, we always talk about the self sabotage, or, the self critic, as you say, Danny. Where does that come from? Like, what are the hindrances to really psychologically hindering us from seeing the champion that we're made for more, that we have, that not even that we were made for greatness, but just who we are as human beings.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about all of that is, we say that, we put it on other people. Oh, my mother didn't believe in me, my father, my
Mhm.
spouse, my boy. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anyone else has to say. A lot of that, when you're saying all these negative things to yourself, you got to ask yourself, whose voice is it?
Mm.
It's not your voice. It's usually somebody in your past or your present that didn't believe in you at a critical point in time, and you're still playing that voice over and over, and it sounds like your voice because it's different situations, it's 10 years later or 20 years later, but you're still stuck in that same situation when that person didn't believe in you that you really wanted to believe in you. And I think that, to me, I think that's where it comes from. You've
It's so
adopted.
foundational. So it's so foundational because for me, one of the things that's sticking to me right here is what are we saying to our children? Those little things that are big things that from the ages, from this since they can understand, what are you saying to your children? And I encourage everybody right now to stop and really think, are you speaking life? If you guys can give us some of the examples that you can recall, because you said, whose voice were you listening to, Danny? Right? And it's going through your head. Was it a mother? Was it a teacher? Can you give me some examples that you have seen with the different people that you've been coaching that is regurgitating in their heads? Lovemore and Coach? And you guys just jump in.
Well, no, wait, we got to go back to you though. What was the
Oh,
point where you realized the champion inside of yourself?
oh, I know he was, oh, Lovemore, I was dodging bullets. I was dodging the bullet. Oh my God.
No, no dodging here.
No
Listen,
dodging
Coach
that bullet
Stone is in
in the
the
building,
building.
y'all. Okay. You know, it's funny. I think it's at different times in life because when growing up in Trinidad, you're surrounded by community and you have the village and, you have family and you're always doing something and active. And I was always volunteering. So it was just natural. And I just say, you say it I was a spoiled child. I was the only one for 7 years. The first 7 years of my life, I had no sisters. So I was, and then they came along, huh? Then they came along. And so, I was really confident for some reason. I just think because of the environment and the people I grew up. However, I think when I came up to North America, I was good for a little while, and then somewhere along the line, I started to do the comparison thing or thinking I wasn't good enough. And I remember putting down some of the dreams that's even like this is one now, and even coaching and even wanting to do conferences, not from big conferences. I wanted to be like there is a group of women called Women of Faith, and they had these huge conferences. And I said to myself, oh yeah. And then I realized, oh, they're doing it. There's no need for me because they're in the space. And so I talked myself and didn't get to the point of recognizing, you know what? Burger King and McDonald's are next to each other. Dempster's and the next bread is next to each other in the same aisle. And it took me a hot minute um, to really see that my voice was different. And I could see it in certain arenas, and then I couldn't see it in some arenas. That's the interesting thing. Like when I'm advocating for people, I don't even think about champion. I just there's just something that just comes out that I can't shut up. But then when it's about moi, that's a whole different kettle of fish, right? And this is even one of the reasons why I think I've loved and appreciated you and Coach Stone and Dr. Vibe, that in this season of life, really seeing people just championing each other, just wanting others to succeed without competition, and understanding that we all have a space, just like we all have 10 fingers with 10 different fingerprints. You guys know me saying this, with 10 different identities in one body. And so each part of us has something unique and significant, but it's easy to say it, but then you have to believe it when you come out of a great conversation like this, and then you have to go into the world, right? And so that to me is like one of the things. I don't care who it is. I have seen CEOs, I have seen great leaders be very scared and come out and say great things. And I think this is why I wanted to have this conversation tonight as we go in propelling into the year 2022. Make sure that we're championing not just ourselves, but championing each other to greatness. So, did I answer your question, Coach Down?
Yeah, you did. That was good. That was good. And you actually brought up something, and we're gonna get Lovemore to answer your other question. But I think sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's a situation that
Yeah.
kind of didn't go the way you expected, or sometimes it's a series of things that happen. So I don't want to just say it's always a person.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a situation. Sometimes it's a series of events that have happened that kind of keep replaying in your mind that really limit you and hold you in place. So yeah, Lovemore, what was it for you that kind of held you back? Do you think that from seeing that champion in you? Was it an event? Was it a series of events? Was it a situation that happened with somebody? What was it?
For me, I think it was a series of events. When I started to take a bit deeper dive, I was perplexed because I really, for a long time, I couldn't pinpoint. I'm like, Lord, what's going on?
Hmm.
What's wrong? Where is this shyness to the point where I can't look someone in the eye and have a
Hmm.
conversation? Where is this shyness to the point where I would lock myself in the kitchen? My clients don't even know who I am.
Right.
It was beyond shyness. Um, but as I was digging deep and going back, someone really, really, really close to me, and sometimes we express certain things and it's not from bad intention, it's that sometimes we just don't know better. But this person said to me, I was around 9 and I didn't know that I carried in my subconscious heart for years. I'll always worry about you because you don't have a voice. And to be
Mm.
quite honest, I didn't know that was one of the underlying root as to why I was timid, why I didn't
Mm.
believe in myself, why I didn't believe that my voice can make a difference. And when that same person passed, that same person gave me the life and the
Mm.
breath to remove the scales from my eyes and see life in a different perspective. So as I said, there's purpose in everything. That same saying turned around years after and also became the catalyst to who I am today. So that was the one of the underlying that I kept. And I would never have a conversation. I wasn't that child like my sister who would question everything or was bold enough to have a conversation. I would tap and like, I need an answer. I would just take everything in, suppress everything. And it went on for years. When my mom passed, everything got dug up. Everything got dug up. I I became curious. Like, I've always said to myself, I never would have imagined that my mom would have passed and given me life. It's almost like there was a second breath
Good.
that
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
like, wake up, love more. Wake up, love more to be. You have a mission to fulfill. It's time to just get up and pick up the
Yeah.
pieces and start to live. And that's what I did. And I it's been an amazing journey. I've transformed so much that I I took a couple months off. I didn't even tell anyone back in 2016. It was so beautifully overwhelming. Within my break, I would travel home just to go in my bedroom and just balance myself because the energy was so beautifully high and I wasn't used to it. My transformation, I don't talk about it a lot, but it was on a whole different level. It was on a whole different level. It was like God was saying, if you cannot see the evidence of what I'm doing, something is wrong with you. I seen it, I felt it. I don't need anyone to tell me. So when we talk about knowing what's happening within, you got to know that you know that you know. I knew something was happening inside. And when people started to, wow, love more, who are you? That's when I got the confirmation like, I'm not making things up. So it is that inner belief meet the voices and the affirmation from others. It's a combined effort. It's not just having that great inner belief, which is great. It starts there. But I tell you, I needed a lot of people to come with me on the journey to say love more consistently. When you keep hearing people tell you that they
Yeah.
see certain things in you over and over and over again, you're like, Lord, okay, okay, I gotta believe. I
And
gotta
you got
believe.
you
So
gotta believe it, and it's the voice. You said something about the voice. Do you realize, and I don't know if you guys feel this way, I recognize that one of the things that can kill a champion, and people, I got my pen and my paper, so if you guys don't have your pen or your paper, I don't know, um, live and on the replay, is that your voice gets stolen. When you when you're in a champion or you haven't found your champion, is because somewhere along the line the real voice of you is quieted. And people mistake and think that because somebody, like last night, Oprah interviewed Adele, right? And listening to her life, and everybody seeing Adele doing all those hello from the other side, and you selling millions and millions of songs. But to hear her speak, you saw her pain and what she was going through. And people mistake, because you're famous or because you seem to be doing well or you have a lot of money, that you don't need a champion, that you don't need to feel that confidence. You may be good in one thing, but a part of you may be hurting, whether it's a broken relationship, whether it's with a spouse, whether it's with a partner, whether it's with a parent. Those things carry trauma, and you really are not championing yourselves. I like to say that we are I would say I was functioning non-functioning, and so you're showing up in the world and you're smiling, hey Coach Stone, hey Lovemore, hey everybody on the Victory Six Show, and then you go home and you're like, there's a part of you that's empty and that's missing. And so it's so important for us to find that champion in us, so that when those voices come, whether they're nay or yay, and you can sit within it. So how can we really go about helping each other and helping others find that champion in themselves? What questions do we need to ask ourselves and sit in?
I mean, going back to, well, before I answer that, going back to what Lovemore said, I mean, that's an amazing transformation. And she said some words that I think are really important.
Mhm.
And this goes back to the whole coaching philosophy that I just told you about.
Yes.
Lovemore said, I became curious.
Yes.
There was a recreation and a rebirth of herself that she never knew was there. She talked about the word transformation. And it goes back to what I was saying. We are all naturally curious, creative, resourceful, and whole. And when you're not aligned with any of that, when you're so disconnected from the curiosity, just being, and when I mean curious, I mean being curious about your life and who you are and who you're becoming and who you need to become in order to make things happen that you've never been able to do. So there has to be a curiosity about that, creativity about problem solving and figuring things out. If you're so far removed from that, then you're removed from really kind of finding that champion in yourself, because you're just going through the motions, like you said, Nicole, every day, doing the same things over and over again. And so I think that's important to kind of understand, is that we have to learn to play to that. But the other
Mhm.
thing is, nobody is coming to save you. No one's,
Mm.
this ain't a movie. Ain't nobody coming to save you. So
Mm.
the problem is, you're here and you want to be here, and you're just like, well, I wish things would change. I wish somebody would just come along and give me that dream job. I wish I could just meet the right person. The right person just needs to walk through the door. Okay. They walk through the door, what? If you're not
Mm.
ready, then what? Nobody is coming to save you. So what that means is that you have to start to reprogram your mind about what's possible. Because once you start to reprogram your mind, here's the problem. Like, the right people could come, the right opportunities,
Right.
right opportunities. But if you're not ready, if you're not in a place that you're willing to accept it, most of us have probably missed tons of opportunities, tons of amazing relationships, because we weren't in a place where we could see that.
Come on now.
So you have to work on yourself. You got to start reprogramming your mind. Even in when you think that you're in this rest period, you're not resting. You're waking up every day. You're grateful. You're thankful. You're praying. You're you're um, you're learning. You're experiencing new opportunities. You're trying to speak affirmations into existence. See, people always think that like taking action is about like physically taking action towards something. I got to physically get up and go to the gym.
Right.
Well, you could visually see yourself going to the gym before you actually go to the gym. You could say something in the mirror about how amazing you are and how much energy you have before you actually put on your sneakers. So there's things that you can do mentally and spiritually before you actually take action. You have
But
to
we have to
start.
learn how to do that, Danny. Here's the thing. If we're not around people, right? Or we're around people with the right mindset, because like you said, your grandmother was one of those people for you. Lovemore, you talked about your mom and somebody else. We need, even as we try to find a champion in ourselves, we need people to champion us from the womb, right?
Yeah.
So I love where you're going with the tools. So Danny and Lovemore, and Danny, continue with some of those tools that, because you were saying like, the envisioning part, because sometimes people talk about just vision and we don't really go into depth. And I always love how you teach people how to do that visioning process. So I want to vision the champion. I want to get that champion out of myself. What do I need to do? Because listen, I'm down, things are hard, I don't know where the money's coming from. What is that person, or the job was a mess, I've been criticized every time I go to work, my partner just left me. How do I even feel like a champion when I feel devalued?
Mhm.
Right? How do
Mhm.
I find a, because when you're a champion, you see your value. How do you find your value
Mhm.
when you feel valueless?
We don't talk enough about giving ourselves credit for the things that we've been able to achieve and accomplish and overcome.
Mhm.
Every time we are faced with a challenge, we act as if we're starting from zero. Like we have no
Mhm.
history of overcoming things. And so at every problem that you have, it seems like it's a new problem. It's a new challenge that you have to figure out when actually you have knowledge and nuggets and history that we just don't take advantage of, right? If you're in a problem right now financially and you've been there before and you were able to overcome that and you're still here, then what did you do before, right? If you were in a bad relationship and you got out of that bad relationship, how did you do that? We always think that so we have to go back and start to say, okay, I am here. Be thankful and grateful that you're here, because the fact that you're here is another day that you can start to do something different. What did you do in the past? Right? What have
Mhm.
you overcome? What's a major goal that you never thought you could achieve? So you have to start to remind yourself of your greatness. You have to start to remind yourself that you are a champion. Maybe you're a champion in some areas of your life. Like maybe your finances isn't going so well, but your relationship is great,
Mhm.
or you're a great parent. So start to build on the things that are working and use that same energy with the things that are working and start to apply that to other areas of your life. That's the first thing. And a lot of us just don't do that. We don't start there.
Don't do that. Don't start.
Right.
Right.
So,
I just want to pause there for a moment. Write down a history of overcoming, reminding yourself of your greatness. And so I remember starting at the beginning of the year having my little victory box, and I kind of lapsed. Consistency in doing it and having the accountability person. So I'm going to write down the history of overcoming, but I think to add to that, I need a Lovemore. I need whether it's your best friend, whether it's your sister, find somebody who's going to you check in with sometimes, or even if it's a matter of, because I'm hearing you and I'm like, okay, how do I accomplish school? And if you don't have somebody in your life, set an alarm on your phone, whether it's every week, right? So because let's be practical, let's give people some tools. If I'm going to do what Coach Stone is saying, writing down my history of overcoming and reminding myself of my greatness. Listen, I paid this bill today. You know what? I got up today. I may have an illness. I made one step. The what is it? The thing of 1%, doing that 1%. So if you have nobody, because Coach Stone said it, sometimes you may not have anybody around you, and you got to do it for yourself. So I encourage anybody listening live and on the replay, or if you know anybody else, give them the tools and remind them, hey, you're doing well, or hey, set the alarm. Or Lovemore will send me a text and say, Nicole, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that's one of the things. Lovemore, what do you well, Coach Stone, I saw you were coming back. Come back.
No, I just want to say one thing. If you don't have anybody like that in your life, there's communities. We have the
Mhm.
Champion You community here on Facebook.
Yes.
There's so many like if you like people are so accessible right now, and we have to stop lying to ourselves. Okay, no one in my family believes in me. I'm around so many negative people. Then seek out positive people, even if it's on an online platform. We have the Champion You community right here. We have the Champion You Club, the Victory Speaks, Love More. Connect with groups of like-minded people. There's no excuse not to find people who are going in the same direction as you are. There's no excuse. You can go online and type right now, how do I become a better parent? Groups that allow, how do I get in shape? You can Google anything and find a group for anything. So that's not an excuse. Find like-minded people and connect with them. But here's the thing is you have to be brave enough to really let people know what's going on so that they can help you.
Courageous conversations, people.
So yeah,
Courageous conversations.
turn
And
it over to
it's one of
Lovemore.
the things we've had that on happening in our club in the house. And we have seen people who really didn't have community and start to come on and started to speak. And the room's always is not always full with like 100 people or 200 people. But what I see that people sometimes like the intimacy where they feel safe, where they can come on and have those courageous conversations, and have and finding their tribe and finding their community, as Liberty says as well. So love more, jump in wherever you want to jump in, because I'm jumping in, girl. You just don't be polite tonight.
Yes, I just wanted to pick up from what Coach Stone said, and one thing that just I must mention. About a month ago, I got inspired to get a testimonial notebook, which I did
Mm.
because a month ago, and I shared with you guys, I just went through a difficult journey.
Mhm.
It was next in line to my mom's journey, and I was deep in that emotion of that season. And I document everything. Pen and paper never fail us yet. And I
Mm.
want you guys to go back to the basics. You must know who you are to grow who you are. And as I'm going through that painful moment, I've said, Lord, this time I know better. I'm going to take a note of where I'm at, and I'm going to document how I got out of it. And as I'm going through and I'm going through, I'm like, being in isolation, not too many people to connect with. I'm like, how am I going to get out of this? And we don't practice going back to how did we overcome? How far did we come? And I think everyone should give themselves a testimonial notebook and a joy list.
Mm.
And I want you to be flexible because what I learned in my journey, I'm like, I can't go to the lake. And all the things that I would do to bring me joy. And God was stretching me to say, you can be in your bedroom and still come out of this pain. And I had to push myself, and God was stretching me. And I'm like, Lord, I can't go to the lake. I can't do all the things that brings me, that connects with the joy that you
Yeah.
put in me and overflow. And Nicole, what came out of that for me was a testimonial notebook, and I document everything because you need to look and flip those pages and say, oh, in 2015 I went through this, I overcame.
Yeah. Yeah.
2010, I went through this. Back in those days when Coach Stone went through that, he documented, and I'm like, I went through this and I overcame. We need to remember we can sit at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're going through a difficult time and you don't want to wake up Nicole or Coach Stone You grab your testimonial book, you play some music, and you flip through the pages. Oh, 2010, I overcame. 2015, I overcame. Sometimes we need to sit in our own champion story and go through
Come
that
on now.
testimonial book and turn those pages. Those pages will not lie and those ink will never fade. So if there's anyone watching, get your, listen, you can go to Dollar Ram and find some nice,
Come on.
pretty notebook.
We creating a notebook here. Create your own, set in your own champion notebook. Coach Stone, you're listening. You got it straight from the Lovemore's mouth. She's taking a percentage.
Okay.
I'll take a 5, and she'll take a 5.
Sure, sure.
We're taking a percentage. This is what I love about the championing you, and what we do. And folks, I'm telling you, live and on the replay, we have conversations like this and then some in the club, in the house, you know,
Every
and
Tuesday.
every Tuesday at 7. And
Tomorrow.
tomorrow night, tune in at 7 p.m. and we'll, just look for the flyer. And we always drop it. We always bring it live. We always have great conversations. I say, listen to, Coach Stone's podcast, the Grind and Gratitude Show, and Lovemore gives us every morning. Every morning she comes with a video full of love, full of joy. There's times I'm like, how do you even do it?
I
And
know.
you see, that's her
You need to
call.
charge people for that.
Listen, that's her call. And it's so amazing when I'm sitting here watching this and listening to this. And it's easier said than done, finding the champion in you. And so I'm sitting here and my mind is going in like 10 different places. And
I want to say something. I want to say something
I'm
about
seeing the coach
champions.
about to say something. We can read each other now, so I'm
Yeah.
just going to shut up.
Now I want to say something about champions, because when you think of people who we consider to be champions and people who we look up to, whether it's athletes or public figures or whatever, there's a couple of commonalities with people who are champions. Like Lovemore said, they do things afraid. They make quick decisions. They don't sit around and think and ponder for a long time. They decide and they take action. And if it doesn't work, they back up, learn from that, and do it again. They have coaches.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Champions have coaches and mentors. And this is something that we all have to understand. The most successful people in the world have coaches and mentors. And so you have to look at yourself and say, who are my coaches? Who are my mentors? And by the way, mentors can be somebody that you have direct contact with, or they can be people that you follow, right? You can get this information online. You don't have to have a direct line to them, but who are the people that you're spending your time and your energy with?
Yeah.
And I think that's very important, because you can read books, you can watch YouTube videos, you can follow people on social media, but champions have coaches and mentors. And if you don't have a coach or a mentor, or you're not a part of a community, then that might be part of the problem, because we all need motivation. We all need inspiration. We all need someone to kick us in the butt, to hold us accountable. We all need someone to be like, remind us of our greatness, to remind us of what they see in us. And if you're not connecting with those people regularly, it's going to be very difficult for you to step into the person that you're supposed to become and serve the people that you're supposed to serve the way that you're supposed to serve them. You can't do that alone. And so it requires vulnerability. It requires you saying, you know what? I don't really know a lot about growing a business. I'm not really too good with this health and wellness stuff. Can you help me with this financial stuff? Champions aren't afraid to ask questions.
Ooh.
And they're not afraid of looking stupid. They're not afraid to ask questions. So if you want to be a champion, you got to ask questions. And I think a lot of us, our ego, our pride gets in the way of us asking questions, asking for help. And so we just sit there and we suffer in silence. But champions ask questions. They have mentors. They have coaches.
Humble. Champions need to be humble.
Speak it. Go ahead.
No, coach. But you're saying it right there. Champions need to be humble, because that's one of the key things I'm hearing you say. Because in order to say that I can learn, right, and I need to learn more, I can't be moving in ego and pride. In order to say I don't know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I can't be moving in ego and pride. In order, and so many times we are looking at social media, this one's doing this, and we're not asking for help because we're too afraid of how we're going to look to the world and to other people. And something else you said there, Coach Stone and Lovemore, it's about taking yourself of toxicity, toxic relationships, toxic mindsets, and recognizing when it's happening. You said earlier on, Lovemore, that the scales were taken off your eyes, and it was such a profound statement because you don't know when you're wearing rose colored glasses until you get a new pair of glasses. And sometimes you have to have people in your life, or you may recognize it for yourself, that can say, you know what, Stone, you know what, you've been living kind of blurry there for a hot minute. I need you to go get a cloth and come let me clean your glasses because you're a little blurry. That hat needs to be tilted more to the right. You look better when it tilted to the right or to the left. And it's having the people that can have not just courageous conversation, I think, but it's honest, helpful conversation. Not that is not coming from a place of critique, but a place of blessing, a place of lifting you up and giving you a hand, not a hand out, but a hand up kind of thing. And so I'm loving this conversation.
But
And I
that's what I
and I
like about Lovemore, though. I mean, I like Lovemore is vulnerable. She asks questions. She's not afraid to put herself out there. And when you said Lovemore that you don't share your transformation story as much as you should, why is that?
mm, the stone is in the building,
If I can be really honest with you, I don't think I have a problem sharing it. Um, Sometimes I just don't know how. I don't even know if I have the words. Um, Coach Stone and Nicole, a large part of it is a spiritual journey, and to be quite honest, I wish I could put the words to the feeling
Mhm.
and the metamorphosis that I was going through. I remember when I was going through that, and I noticed the change in energy. And I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a very long time when people would say energy, and I was just like, that's just like what are you
Hocus
talking
pocus.
about? You could not say the word energy to me, and in my heart, honestly, I was just like, that's not earthly. That's not human, whatever. And then I'm going through this energy change, and I walk through one day and I'm coming through the garage, and my cousin said to me, you don't have to burst through the door like that with your energy. And I realized something was happening.
Mm.
And I realized my tongue was getting heavy. And I think, Nicole, you spotted on that one day on a video. My tongue, I was speaking so fast and I had to retrain myself. And a lot of times, if you notice, and if I hold, that means my energy is building so fast. I had to relearn. I had to learn what was happening through me. And I wasn't saying nothing to anyone. I had one mentor, and he told me everything that was going to happen through to me. So I wasn't scared because he had already prepared me. So that was the only person I was talking to, and he was smiling because on a spiritual realm, when you're prophesying these things and you see the person going through it, and I picked up the phone, he's like, you're calling about the conversation we had. And I'm like, yes. It's great when you're going through these moments and you can speak to someone and people don't think you're crazy. So to answer your question, Coach Stone, I thought that if I shared, I would people would call me crazy because
Mm.
it's almost like this out of this world. I would literally leave from work whenever I have some free time, and I'll go to my room and just like lay on my bed because this transformation was so wild. but it was beautiful. And I knew that it was something for me, not against me. So I'm sharing it now. I think it's time because I'm at a level of understanding where I can put better words to match the experience. And I had to grow into this. But back then in 2015, it was just like, whoa, whoa. And people are like, who are you? And everywhere I would go, the word energy came up. I
Mhm.
love your energy, your energy. And all this word energy, energy, energy was like, wow. To the point where when I'm redefining who I am as a human being, it was for me body, soul, spirit, energy, that word I just never liked for many, many years, and inner child. This is who I am. If you ask me, who am I? I'm body, soul, spirit, energy, and inner child. And these are things I've never shared before because I didn't know the how. I didn't have the words. But we have to be patient because the words will come because we're always in preparation. We're always being prepared. In 2015, I couldn't talk like this because I didn't have the words or the understanding. But we're being prepared and we have to walk into a season where all the transformation that we're going within, we now have the verbiage and we can pull everything together. So there you go, voila.
No, I love that. That's beautiful. I really love that. And you said something that's really important that we have to understand. It's the preparation.
Mhm.
See, I'm not saying that it would have been different or not, but this is the power of the pen and paper. Because once you start to write out your story and you tell your story and you go over the story, it actually helps you to start to make sense of it so that you can help other people. And most of us get stopped because of what you're saying. I have this story in me, this energy I have. I know it can help people, or maybe not, or maybe I'm embarrassed, but we don't work it out. And so,
Right.
because we never work it out, it just stays all this stuff in us. Where if you sit, and this is my request for everybody who's watching this live or in the replay, we all have stories that can impact other people. Our stories don't even belong to us. Your story doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the people who need to hear it. So if you understand that, it's your responsibility to start to work out your story in your head, put it on paper so that it starts to make sense, write it, rewrite it, rewrite it, rewrite it until it starts to flow. Then you start sharing your story because it belongs to everyone else. Think about the people who have all inspired all of us. Imagine if they never told those stories. So it's our responsibility to share our stories. And that's actually part of being a champion. Paying it forward is about teaching other people what you learn. And so it's your responsibility to make sense of it and start to tell that story. And what you were saying, Lovemore, I think is really important because sometimes you don't know how people are going to react, or you might think that people might think that you're way out there, but the people who need to hear it are going to hear it the way that they need to hear it. I don't expect everybody to um, resonate with my stories, but when you tell a story in a way that it's empathetic, people can connect with it. They don't have to relate exactly to what you were going through, but they can relate to the emotions, how you were feeling. People connect to emotions. So sometimes we're telling a story. Like, I stand on stages at corporate places and talk about growing up in low income housing, getting arrested 3 times, to corporate people. How do they connect with that? They connect with it because I never felt I never had that self confidence. You know, I never had all of these things inside of me that let me know that I was worthy. Who hasn't felt that way at one point? People can connect with the emotions because we've all gone through. They don't have to be that direct experience, but they connect with the emotions. So the fact that you said you were going through this transformation and something was coming over you, whether people experience that or not, it's probably something that they even want to happen. So they might be like, I want that to happen. What are some of the things that she's talked about doing to, well, she was open and she did this, and okay, well, maybe I have to do that. So I think we should never undervalue our story, because people can connect with emotions. The same way we watch a TV show or a movie, we know it's not real, but we're like,
Mhm.
oh my God, don't go in there. Oh my, we're on the edge of our seat. It's
Yeah,
fake.
yeah, yeah.
So why do we connect with TV and movies that we know is not real? It's the emotional connection. And so when you learn to tell your story in a way that is about your audience, it's not about you, right? They're learning through your experiences. When you learn to tell it in that way, of course people are going to lean in and they're going to be curious. They're going to be like, wow, that happened to Nicole. When did I feel like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I felt out of place. I was born in Canada and I never moved to another country, but I remember working in this environment and I just didn't feel right. Like Nicole was saying, that's when I felt different. Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's all of our responsibility to work out those stories, get like Lovemore was saying, a pen and paper, those testimonial
Yeah.
stories. I call them champion stories, and you start writing them out and they start to make sense in your mind. And the other thing is, now that you're removed, you can see it from different angles. You start to see things like, oh yeah, I couldn't see that when I was 19. I couldn't see that when I was in that relationship with that person, but now I see it.
Yeah.
Now these are
Yeah.
the lessons, right? Just like we talked about, with our signature stories, right?
I was just gonna say, Danny, you can't talk about now. Listen, people. There's two things, and I'm this. I've been itching to ask this question, so he just rolled right into it. Lovemore knows where I'm going. He knows where I'm going. Some of y'all don't know where I'm going. You're about to find out. This is why I say you have to have the right people around you. I would say in the year, I mean, I've had some good people around me in my life. I would say for sure in the year 2020, 2021, I've had some champions at my side who were speaking championese to me. Yeah, that's the new language. They've been speaking championese to me because what I realize and recognize is that people see you doing your stuff and don't think that you need some validation or you need a compliment. And they just leave you in a quagmire and you and like the chirps, it's just like crickets. Like, is this even making a difference? And I know for sure that if it wasn't for Coach Lovemore, Coach Stone, Dr. Vibe, and a couple other people, and those people who are diligently coming onto the show, like Serena and Wendy and Gloria, and that are here every week, I would have quit the show. You know, because and I had to remind myself, even if it's just that one person that tunes in today, if that because I don't know who that one person is. That one person could be saved from something by hearing a Lovemore story or Coach Stone story, saying, "Oh, I could come out of low income housing." You know, it's 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 something I always spoke about, but now I have to live it. It's the power of one. If it's only one person that is tuned in, and I know for a fact that there are some topics that people won't want to tune into live because there may be a shame of like, oh, I'm there live and they may see that I'm online. Or some people may not even comment because we talk about if you want to be a champion, you have to ask questions, you have to be vulnerable, right? And so when you're looking at your stories now and you're looking throughout your life, somebody might be looking from low income housing and I went to jail, and they may be ashamed to tell that story. But Danny, you have taken that story and championized it. Yes, I am going to coin that. Championized it. Let's just write that one down. Championize it. And and one of the beautiful things that you have taught us over time, guys, you're getting a glimpse into my little personal life here, is that you've been teaching us how to tell our signature stories. So share with these folks live and on the replay. You're going to get a very mini class because he ain't going to tell you everything. You got to come into the Champion You room, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's in the club house, wherever. You're going to tune into the Grand and Gratitude Show, or you're going to tune into Love More in the mornings. Yes, thank you, Serena. She spelt it for me. Championese. Yes, yes.
I
because
love
these
it.
are my iron sharpeners,
I
people.
love that.
Iron sharpeners. I love you, Serena. And how do you tell your sick? I'm leaning in, Coach Stone with my butterfly. How do you tell your signature story?
Well, first,
Review.
first of all, I love more. First of all, your champion story. See, we all have a lot of stories, and I think sometimes it can be overwhelming because
Mhm.
we want to stand up and tell people these are all the things that happened to me, blah blah blah. But you have to be strategic about the stories that you tell. If you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, you definitely have to be strategic about the stories that you tell because you're trying to attract the right clients. But if you feel that you have a mission, if you feel there's a purpose, if you feel that there's a challenge that you want to tackle in the world, you need to tell strategic stories because that's what gets in the hearts of your audiences and your clients. Some of us just have all these stories and we just want to dump all of our. Well, it might not be the right stories to tell the audiences that you're speaking to because it's not going to resonate with the action that you want them to take. If you're working for a charity, what is the story that your personal story that's connected to why you do the work that you do? If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, what is your personal story to why you started that business? So there's a framework around it. And basically, and this is very helpful. Basically, what we do is you go back in it throughout your life and you look at your life in increments of 10 years. So from 0 to the age of 10, what are 3 events that help to shape who you are, or 3 events that stand out in your mind between the ages of 0 and 10? Then you do the next 10 years, 11 to 21. What are 3 events? 22 to 33. What are 3 events? And what you're doing with these events are you're describing what happened, who was involved, what were the emotions that you were feeling when that thing happened, what were the outcomes, like what happened, what were the outcomes, and then what were the lessons. When you do all 5 of those things and you go through the you come up with 3 stories per decade, now you have these stories that you can use to kind of connect and resonate with your cause, your mission, your business. And when you tell those stories, what, because people are connected through emotions and stories, right? Everything we do in life is about stories. You get on the phone with your friend, you're gossiping, oh, so and so, blah blah blah, she just had a baby, oh, this dude, it's a story. You
Mhm.
listen to the radio, it's a story. You're watching TV. Everything we do evolves around stories. So it's our responsibility to learn to tell strategic stories that relate to a cause or a business or our mission. And once you do that, you're going to find that people react to you in a different way. They're going to be like, they're really going to get you. You're going to form deeper bonds and connections with people. And sometimes people that you never thought you would form a bond and a connection with because
Mhm.
you're learning to tell your story in a way that you're talking about the emotions. You're talking about what happened, how you felt at the time, what happened as a result, the outcome, and then the lessons that you learned. And when you put all that together, people want to lean in. They're like, damn, well, tell me more, Lovemore. Nicole, I need to know, okay, how do I implement this in my life? And that's the key. You want people to lean in and say, tell me more. Tell me more about your charity. Tell me more about your community service. Tell me more about that cause that's really important to you. Tell me more about your coaching, your speaking, your products, your services. Once you get people to say, tell me more, they're hooked. They're hooked.
And you know what you just did, Danny? You just showed us how to write down a history of overcoming and reminding yourself of your greatness. Because when you write down that story in 10-year increments, it is going to help you champion the champion in you. And that's the key. If there's anything you glean from today, if you can share it, and if you can do this with your children, like right now, you know, say, our young ones are going through so much, the pandemic, in school, out of school, and they're never too young. Even a 5-year old, even a 7-year old, a 10-year old get them to write down, okay, what did you accomplish, what happened, and telling their stories and sharing your stories with them as how you overcame. And so that, and remember folks, it's like, when I think of young people, and boys learn differently than girls. And I remember watching, I think it was Dwayne Mitchell today on Marilyn Dennis show, and he's so good as an educator. And he says, and I learned this from also another guy who came into my son's school years ago. Young people will communicate in a car. They'll communicate when you're on the phone. They don't like always this direct eye contact, like when you're grilling them or you're questioning them. They like it when you're probably going for a walk side by side. You're having some food, but it's not about. And I mean, not across the dinner table. They will share more with you in a car than they will share one on one, because they're not feeling that they're intimidated and they're being, grilled. And so if you start sharing your stories with them, you become real. You don't become this person who is like, you're all that, and you never made a mistake, or you never did, or you never, whatever. But understanding how you came over your challenges is what's going to help others champion each other. And
That's a
so,
good point, Nicole. Start with the people that you know.
yes.
We. I sorry to interject, but we
No,
when we
you
did that.
interject, my friend.
No, when we did that Get Back to Love event. So for those who
Yeah,
don't know, we're probably gonna have to start up in the new year. But
we need to do that again.
Get Back to Love was this online event that we had, all about love and forgiveness of yourself and other people.
Yeah,
And my mom was on that session. I don't know if you guys remember. My mom was
yeah,
on the session, and my mom actually shared something really personal that she never shared before. And I was like, wow, I learned something different about my mom. And because of that, I saw her in a different light. And I'm in 45 years old, and I listened to my mom say something that she had never told me. So I just wanted to bring light to that, is exactly what you're saying. Tell your kids your stories. Let them know where you come from. Let them know how you grew up. Let them know that, you know what, I was insecure when I was 14.
yeah, yeah.
Let them know. Your kids, your spouse, your friends, your people. Let the people who are closest to you know.
And don't grandiose it, and don't make it be like, boy, when you were growing up and we had to walk 10 miles in one pair of shoes, and you know, so sometimes, you know, their experience now dealing with social media is way different and way more challenging. We didn't have cyberbullying. Their bullying was in a different way. And so we really have to learn how to champion ourselves, champion our young people. And so as we start to wind down and stuff, how one of the things I know I wanted to do was championing each other. And I would encourage anybody on live and on the replay, find somebody that you can champion tonight, or you can champion this week or tomorrow, even if it's with a smile, even with it's saying, you know what, Lovemore, I love your earrings. Lovemore, I love how you show up. And so tonight, Coach Doan, is there somebody you want to champion? They don't have to be here right here live, but is there somebody that you want to champion who's been championing you?
Well, first of all, both of you, over the last year or so, getting a chance to know both of you, I definitely value your relationships and sort of what you bring to my life. I love having conversations with both of you. I love the perspectives that you see things, like it's important to be around people who don't always see things the way that you see it. And so I just want to say thank you to both of you for that, because I've noticed my own growth um, over the last 6 months or so, just having conversations with you every week, and our little text messages and whatever. So definitely want to thank you both for that, and thank you for being uh, impactful in my life. I really, really appreciate that. Obviously, my wife, Trudy's amazing.
The Trudy is in
Um,
the building, y'all. She is a
you know,
champion.
she
Hey.
we're very supportive of each other and the work that we're doing. And then I just have like amazing, I'm having really great friends. Jeff Martin, Kurt, a bunch of people that none of you may know, but Jay Martin. And I think it's important that even if it's just one person, you don't. Sometimes we see like outgoing people like myself, and
Mhm.
you might see I know a lot of people, or all of us, Nicole and Lovemore, we know a lot of people, and it looks like we have all of these friends, but
Yeah.
it's you just need one person that really believes in you, that holds you accountable, that lifts you up when you need it, and vice versa. You don't need 50 friends. You just need one person that believes in you and sees you. No, like really sees you.
Mm.
They see your heart, they see your spirit, they see your drive, they see who you're trying to become. And they don't even need to know the answers. They just need to let you know that I see you.
Yes.
And so I'm very fortunate to have a few people like that in my life, and I consider you two of those people. And so I'm the type of person, I just give people their flowers all the time. There's no People get random text messages from me that maybe I haven't talked to for a year, and it's always right on time.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want people to know. Like Nicole said, is there somebody that that you just want to reach out and say thank you for being there for me, or when you did this a year ago or earlier, it just meant so much. Don't second guess it. When you feel an impulse to connect with somebody and send them a message and tell them how much they mean to you, then do it, because they probably need to hear it. So
Yes.
that's it for me.
More than you know. Because people aren't always telling you what's going on. They may be watching us live here and doing stuff, but they don't know what could be happening in our household, that what it took for us to come on here today, and why we may not come on here today. So it's so important. So love more. Who do you want to champion today?
Oh my goodness, so many people, but I'm just gonna just stay present in the moment. I have learned the gift of action.
Mm,
A lot of people say, I've sat in so many rooms and I hear the talk. Um, Thank you to Coach Stone. I mean, I think it was 2 weeks ago I shared in the Champion You club. We were asking about goals, and right on the spot, he's like, "Let's set up a call," which we did. And I have grown so much in the group. The Champion You club became my accountability Tuesday room. I have a notebook. My cousin and my daughter, they laugh to me all the time because they think I'm so old school. I write down everything. But listen, pen and paper has never failed me. It is my best friend. And Coach Stone, I have to tell you, I wanna salute you, and I want you to leave from here understanding it's not the quantity, it's the quality, right? We may not have 1,000 people who come to the group, but it's the quality, the consistency. When I think of what's that lady's name who come every week? Oh my goodness, what's that lady's
Crystal,
name?
Crystal.
Crystal.
Crystal. When I think of Crystal and the consistency, I have grown so much. When you think about it, there's no excuse. If you can't afford a coach, there's no excuse, as Coach Stone said, to find a community.
Mhm.
And Nicole, Nicole can tell when I need love more and checking it. I'm checking in on you. She can, like, we're so connected to the point where she can tell. And I admire that I have grown to trust and admire Coach Stone to say, Coach Stone, can we have a talk? Or I can, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because for me, the hardest thing I've always been to ask. And this year I've learned to ask. So it is learning to ask, but it's also knowing that I can reach out to Coach Stone and he's going to deliver. So we need community where there's the asking and people are willing to serve, where you can spot and see a need and say, love more, let's book a call. And I can feel assured to say, you know what, I don't have to worry about can I really just reach out to Coach Stone? He offered. Sometimes we just need to step up and say, I'm good at this. I have this. Here it is. How can I help you? Reach out and let me know when we can connect. Sometimes people need that assurance to say, here's a safe space. This is what I have to offer. I'm going to pick up the phone or send you a message and call to say, you need help with the website, Nicole? I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not that we're afraid to ask. Sometimes we just don't know. Can I really ask you?
Exact. That's it, love more.
Do you really, really, really want to help me? People need to know that. Lovemore, I got you. Coach Stone, I had your back. And now
Yeah.
people will speak and say stuff, but they really need the action to cement that. So I'm so, so thankful for the Champion U Club. I'm so thankful for Victory Speak. I have grown at your feet so much this year. And I know you have Serena and Wendy on. We cannot go any further without saying salute to Serena and salute to all of Nicole Pelotons who support you. Serena
Serena girl,
deserve is on a whole
another
different.
level.
I'm telling you, I'm just so impressed and impacted, and I'm just feeling so hopeful when I think of people like Coach Stone, Nicole, Serena, Wendy, Crystal. So hopeful. So I could go on because there's so many people. Gonna just keep it present in this moment. So Coach Stone, thank you for what you're doing. Keep on doing what you're doing. We see you, we salute you, you're amazing, and we adore you. And Nicole, salute, keep on doing what you're doing because you have to do Victory Speak because people need to know that their voice matters and that there's a champion in each of us. So back over to you, Nicole.
You see, I love you, Coach Son, and love more. And I purposely did this because we can take people's presence for granted, not because we want to, but we just think that they're okay. And Wendy says we won't have you in tears. Yeah, Wendy, you're on here. And even if Wendy phone dies, she goes on her husband's computer, and we see Edwin show up, and we're like, okay, that's Wendy, you know. And I tell you, it's sometimes when people showing up for you, just like how Crystal comes into the club, we know that our voice matters at that time. That in itself speaks life to us. And it's important to speak life. And so tonight I have my Victory Speaks glass that was given to me by two of my, you can't see the Victory Speaks, so sorry. I wish you could, but you can't. But it's on there. It says Victory Speaks, another year, another victory. And this was given to me by two of my, I call them iron sharpeners. Lovemore calls them Pelotons. And Joan and Emily gave me and made this glass for me. And so I have it at my side. So it reminds me I have champions next to me, even though they may not be online all the time. And I can tell you, Coach Danny, just meeting Coach Danny, folks, you would think that we knew each other for donkey years. I mean, donkey years, I don't know what that really means, but for a really long time. But I only met Coach Stone in 2021 in the pandemic. And I don't even remember how I stumbled onto Coach Stone. It could have been through Dr. Vibe. Most likely it's through Dr. Vibe. And Dr. Vibe is not here tonight because he's coaching some other people. And and just signing up for the class. And he has this heart of giving, and he really wants to see people succeed. And that's one of the things I really admire about you, Coach, is because you're not just a talker, you walk the talk. You really, it's not about the competition, it's about the completion. And you will give people, we know you will give people a shirt off your back. I mean, and you're an advocate, and you're doing stuff with zero gun violence. And I just seeing the synergy of how you support your wife Trudy and how she supports you, that tells us a lot, because you guys are always championing in each other, and then seeing how you show up in the club and doing that room every Tuesday, no matter who shows up, you are there making sure people are learning and doing your podcast. And people don't always realize that a lot of the stuff you're doing without a fee. And yes, you may get paid in other ways, but you make sure that people are equipped to go through their day. So I toast you today, Coach Danny, for being one of my coaches, for being a brother, for being a friend, and I am just I want to champion you today for championing me and championing others to be the best it can be. So I'm toasting to you, my
Thank you.
brother.
I mean, both of you guys are so kind with your words. I really appreciate that.
We're kind, but we're honest. And I hope as Wendy, I'm reading the comments. Wendy's like, you need some sorrel in that glass. Girl, drop over the sorrel, Wendy. Drop over the sorrel. For those of you who do not know what sorrel is, it's a Caribbean drink that we tend to really make during Christmas time. It is made out of the sorrel flower, and it's a fruit, and it's a beautiful drink. It's normally red. A drinking some more be tonight, Wendy. Okay, how does that sound? And Coach Lovemore, your name says it all, and you've come into my life 20 over you're old, my god, older than my son. I think maybe like almost 25 years I've known Coach Lovemore. Yeah. And from doing my speaks earlier on when I was first doing stuff, and you have been a consistent person, but now more than ever you're really a sister friend, and you check in and you're consistent. And I know you're helping me to dream again. When people think I don't dream in color, people, I don't. Visioning, I can speak vision, but sometimes seeing, envisioning it in my head is hard for me. But Lovemore, she sent me a video this morning. Was I see this for you. And last night she was like, okay, I see this. And this is where this interview is going to happen. And this is the person that you're going to interview. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you? And then she asked me, what are you going to wear? And she did the Danny Stone. What are you going to wear? What does the atmosphere feel like? I'm like, oh, Jesus. And one of the beautiful things she did is that it sits right. Lovemore, what it doesn't, just switching my location in the house, that two people did something so great for me. One made a sign that says Victory Speaks, so it sits right in front of me. And one day I got this package in the mail, and it was from Lovemore, and it said Nicole Waldron, Voice of Victory. And so that sits where I can see it every morning when I wake up, so that even when I don't feel victorious, I see it. Actions matter. And I think Lovemore said it. Actions matter. Words matter. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And we have to use our words to speak life to each other. And so I thank you too. I thank you for everybody that has tuned in here. Serena, we met through Dr. Vibe and doing an interview, and you have been consistent and you've been championing us on through this all. Wendy, girl, I know you donkey years too, you know? And Gloria was on here earlier, and you see the different people showing up in your life at different times. And so I wish I could just call out all the people just like I know you want to, And I was saying to myself, what do I need to do for Christmas? So by my birthday, January 7th, people, January 7th, just saying, um, is that I have to challenge myself to write thank you notes, whether I do it by email, whether I do it by text. And, we started doing these video thank yous, you know, whatever you need to do, champion the people in your life. You never know what somebody is going through. And even though you see me here tonight, you don't know what's going on in my house. You don't know what goes going on in Lovemore's house or Coach. We're showing up because we just know we have to show up. And so I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And before we go, I need Coach Stone and Lovemore to share what they're working on next, because Miss Lovemore, Coach Lovemore, aka Sher, is a woman of many talents. So Coach Lovemore, please tell them about the book, tell them about whatever else. Oh wait, Wendy's like January 4th is my birthday. I know. Okay, they're in. They're in. Yes, January is our birthday month. This is why we do the show live, people. This is why. Just for this interaction is why we do the show live. Okay, Coach, love more.
Yes, so Nicole, thank you once again for this amazing opportunity. It's you always just bring out the victory in us and just elevate, our quest for just going on that champion journey. Coach Stone, salute always. Um, I do have a Love More journal, which document the journey that I've been on personally. It's not just a journal. It is a lifestyle. It is the blueprint that changed my life. If you are interested and serious about taking that next step, even if you're not sure how to do it, please reach out. I just want people who are hungry and thirsty and want to make a difference. We each have experiences. Find the person that have gone through and overcame, and you want to get to that place where they've been. We're each unique. So find that mentor, find that coach, find a community. But my ask tonight is start tonight before you go to bed and say, I want to find the champion within me. And
Mm,
when you get up tomorrow, get a notebook and find someone and say, I need you to stand beside me as I go on this journey, and reach out to one of us or all three of us and activate and take that action. I love you all. God bless you. There's a champion in each one of us. We were created with that stamp. Take the action, find the people, and know that you are enough. Mwah.
I love that. I love that. Get the notebook, people. Champion yourself and find that person that can say, you know what, Stone? This is who you are. You are integral. You're this, you're that. Love more. You're beautiful inside and out. You need to hear those words so that it sits inside on you and becomes your truth. What you believe about yourself and what is true can be two different things. Let me say that again. What you believe about yourself and what is true about yourself can be two different things. And you need to know what is true about yourself so you can find the champion in you. Coach Stone, over to you, my brother.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on this platform, Nicole. We have these conversations and stuff all the time in the Champion U room, but it's great to be on your platform. And anybody who's watching this live or in the replay, make sure that you don't just listen to what Nicole's saying and watch, but like interact, engage with what she's saying and her guests, because you always have really interesting conversations. So thank you so much for having me on the platform. Lovemore, you're my sister. I got love for you as well. For me, I would say join the Champion U club on Clubhouse. Join the Champion U club community here on Facebook. I'm asking people to do that because in January, um, I want to make a bigger commitment to really helping people make major shifts in their life, and people who are willing to do the work. Like if you know that you want more out of life, I'm willing to teach what I'm learning and bring on guest experts for health and wellness and relationships, and really to help people to take their life to another level. So anybody who's serious, I suggest that you join, those communities. Um, you can definitely listen to the Grind and Gratitude Show. I'm going to continue to put out brand new podcast episodes every single Monday. Um, and, I think for me, I know that you have something inside of you. I know that there's a champion inside of you. I know that you've had setbacks in your life and you've had missteps. We all have. But don't quit on your dreams. Don't quit on your dreams. You don't have to know how you're going to make it happen right now. You just have to get clear about what it is that you really want, what you really want in all areas of your life. And know that, like Nicole, know that, like Lovemore said, you have a champion inside of you. The things that you've been able to achieve that you never thought you could achieve, you did it. The things that you never thought you could overcome, you did it. Every bad day, you survived 100% of every single bad day you've ever had.
Mm,
Every single bad day, you're still here. Isn't that amazing? So I would
wow.
just say join those clubs. Where I'm like what I'm foreseeing is I'm really trying to create a community of people to really create the Champion U lifestyle, to create the lifestyle that they deserve. So if that's you, join those communities. And I have some coaching programs coming out in January. If I have a goal setting program. If you're interested, go to iamdannystone.com/get it done. It's called the Get It Done Goal Setting Plan. And I just really want to see people win in 2022 and beyond. I really want to see people do some things they've never been able to do, to start to think about themselves in a different way, to start to shift from impossible to possible, because once you can make that shift, you can do it. So thank you both so much. It's always great getting with you. Really love it.
Well, I just saw one of our coaches. He's just showing up here. He just finished coaching some folks. He's like, "Are you guys done?" I feel like Dr. Vi wants
We're
to come
done,
on.
man. I gotta go. We're done. I'll
Dr.
catch you
Vi,
tomorrow, Dr. Vibe.
we're gonna have to have you on the next show because we already taken time from Miss Trudy. You know,
It's all good.
Miss Trudy right there. Um, and so Dr. Vibe is another one of our coaches that is in the room with us, championing you, championing everybody. And be sure to follow and, take the advice that our coach Lovemore gave. Get that notebook, take the action, start championing yourself, and deliberately, and this is really big for me, really huge for me, please speak life into another person. Everybody, every single person needs someone to speak life into them because not every part of everybody's life is perfect, is working well. Whether they may be showing up for work doing well, but their marriage may not be working well. They may be showing up as a mother or as a father, but they may not be showing up as a husband or a wife. Everybody needs something, and we have all had places where we're being devalued. You don't know whether it's on the road, whether it's in the grocery store, whether it's past trauma. We all need to champion each other, and we all need to champion ourselves, and not every day is the same. And every day, you know try to do your best. And as Dr. Vibe, you gotta just drop it. You gotta drop. Everybody has value. We're going to have to do a part two to this. I mean, if you guys love this conversation and Wendy is saying, wow, wow, tonight was so powerful. And this is what happens with us when you get the right people around you. It is so important. I can't stress enough because I know for my own self, I wouldn't be here in 2021 surviving what I've gone through in 2020 without these folks around me. Dr. Vibe, Coach Lovemore, Coach Stone, Joan, Emily, Wendy. And there are people that I have met along the way. Like, it will be amazing that the people that champion you are not always in your inner circle. I've met people like, and they become part of your circle, like author June Doyle. She always writes, look for people who will speak life into you. If you're going onto people's timelines, um look for people on Wednesday, not this Wednesday. We can do it next Wednesday if Coach Lovemore and Coach Stone are available. We can do next Wednesday. This Wednesday, I got the chef in the house. We got Amanda Hammer in the house on Wednesday. You see? And she's in the store Black Toronto, y'all. We got to shop black. This is the other part of championing you. Like, shop with your local. They're saying that there's shortages in different areas. Go to do the extra. Find local entrepreneurs. Shop. Coach Stone has 2 books. He didn't mention his books. Lovemore has 2 books now. She has her journal, and she's part of the anthology that we're in together, Pursued by Purpose. You see, she's so humble. You know, you subscribe to a podcast, just in subscribing to Danny's podcast, following Coach Lovemore, that changes the algorithms. Following Victory Speaks on YouTube, yes, yes, yes.
Of course.
All that is championing somebody, so really and truly, people, I can't say it enough, as you can tell, because I'm repeating myself, but I really want us to champion each other. It is so important. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for everyone tuning in live and on the replay. Shop small businesses, Champion yourself tonight. You are enough. You are supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And I am so glad that Coach Danny Lovemore, you know, you came in. We need a champion you room song. We need somebody who's gonna sing and champion us out the door. So okay, we gotta take a group shot after, so don't go anywhere, folks. I'm talking to my speakers here tonight. And we will see you on Wednesday. We got some great shows coming up for you the rest of November. And remember to let your victory speak. Your victory can be with a smile, it can be with a wave, it can be with a heart, but share your love. Share your love and let your victory speak. Good night, y'all.
Good night.